Oh, and everyone, before we get into this video and we talk about it, have a look there on screen. The look back. People, we have been talking about this, myself and Ade, for a couple of months now, and it finally happened. It's on his channel. I'll pin the link in the comment section. We watched Kell Brook Triple G. It was, honestly, people, it was fun to film. I think it's a great concept, and we're both, man, it's brilliant to have it up and running. If you could go over and give it a look, as well as normal at ANG, man, the look back every now and again, maybe once a month, looking back on old fights. And you know, the comment section is open there, so go and suggest some fights that you want us to look back on. We already have an idea in place of the next one, but yeah, it was amazing. The feedback has been brilliant. I would encourage you to go over there and have a look. Now let's get into talking about some boxing. So Tyson Fury and his comeback, which he is yet to announce. He hasn't announced the comeback yet, but currently now, and I want you to bear this in mind, right? On July the 19th in Wembley Stadium, we have a fight for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world, all right, against the two perceived best in the division, Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois. The two best perceived in the division this time last year were Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury has since lost twice to Alexander Usyk and subsequently retired. So therefore, you look and say, well, who is next? And obviously Anthony Joshua was up there until he got knocked out by Daniel Dubois. Therefore, you know, obviously we're talking about 1 and 2. But interestingly enough, the Ring Magazine, which rankings are, they're the ones I would normally go for the most, because when you look at sanctioning bodies, the rankings of any given, it's not the WBC, it could be any of them, right? The 4 of them. They're normally a little bit all over the shop. All right, sometimes they'll rank champions, former champions, higher than they really should. They'll rank, a good example would be the WBO with Anthony Yard. A couple of times now they've done this, where he's won, like, it's an intercontinental WBO title. He's defended it 2 or 3 times against, you know, who's that? And he's just up the rankings. So with the Ring Magazine, it's more of a, what have you done for me lately? Which, you know, I can kind of, that's fair enough, you know, that's probably the best way to do it. So the Ring Magazine rankings are normally a good guide. Now, I don't really have an issue per se with really any of the rankings here. What I would say about these rankings is the guy who's ranked at number 1, because obviously Alexander Usyk is the Ring Magazine champion. He's not number 1, he's the champion. He is the man, so that's fair enough, right? Let's go from number 10 to said number 1, and I will give my 2 cents on this then. So in at number 10 is Fabio Wardley, and some might say that's a little bit, I don't want to say undeserved, no, but maybe premature. You know, if he'd have fought Miller and he's fighting Justice Hooney now, maybe, yeah, but Fraser Clark and not fighting for 6 months. But okay, look, I think Fabio Wardley has done, me personally, I a couple of years ago I was thinking, right, he's going to lose sooner or later, probably at not a high level. The improvements over the last couple of years have been vast. They really have, and he is really looking like a serious threat in the heavyweight division, so no problem him being there. This next one, right, I can't really argue with both guys being in the top 10, but maybe I could argue with the rankings. So in there, number 9 is Efe Ajagba, who's coming in off the back of a recent draw with Martin Bakole, who's actually ranked 1 place above him. Now, arguably, I felt Efe Ajagba did win the fight. Also, Bakole's coming in off a loss and a draw. Ajagba's not doing that. I know he's not been fighting at the highest level, but nevertheless, he's still been winning. So, maybe you could have Bakole, maybe you could have Bakole number 10 actually, and have Fabio Wardley ahead of him. Zhilei Zhang in there, number 7. Again, no real problem with that. He's coming off the back of a loss. He did knock out Deontay Wilder. His form has not been incredible, to be really truthful. I mean, he knocked out Deontay Wilder. He got stopped by Zhilei, or he got stopped by Yaji Cavallel, who's on this list. And then prior to that, he was beat by Joseph Parker. A close, contentious fight, fair enough, but nevertheless, he still lost. So, okay, here we go. Filip Hrgovic in there at number 6. No problem with that, per se. Again, only a win over Joe Joyce in his last fight, but nevertheless, he still was able to get, he didn't beat Daniel Dubois. He lost to Daniel Dubois, who is now a champion. So, let's let that one go. Anthony Joshua in there at number 5. 5 for Anthony Joshua, I don't know. Lost to Daniel Dubois, we don't know who he's coming back against. Okay. Now we get into the next few where, all right, Adrian Caballel in there at number 4, no issue with that. Joseph Parker in there ahead of him, one place number 3. Some people would argue that Parker should actually be below Caballel because Wilder's not looked great. Zhang lost to Caballel and was beaten way more convincingly than Parker did. And obviously we know about the Bacoli debacle, so we can look at that. We could say maybe, and that's a tricky one. Maybe, well, okay, let's look at Caballel, right? Let's just be fair. Let's take it on in context. How good was Arsenal Makhmedov? He lost again. He's not looked particularly good. Frank Sanchez was clearly injured. Okay, there's no ifs or buts. He was. And again, Zhilei Zhang, he stopped Zhilei Zhang, who was 41 years old then. So, okay, maybe it's much of a muchness. So I have no issue there. Daniel Dubois is in there at number 2. And you must stop and say, well, who is in there above them at number 1? It's Tyson Fury, who's retired. I don't understand why he's number 1. That doesn't make any sense to me. Back-to-back defeats in... Look, Fury can claim all he wants that he was robbed. The reality is he wasn't. He was beaten twice by the better man. The first time he had more success, even though we took a beating, he had more success first time around than he did in the second fight. In the second fight, round number 5 is the only clear-cut round you can give to Tyson Fury. The rest of them, I mean, as I said, the AI judge had Usyk miles ahead in that fight. And then he subsequently retired. I don't believe Tyson Fury is ranked in any of the other sanctioning bodies. So again, why is he number 1 ranked by the Ring Magazine, which is, in my opinion, the most respected, and it is the most legit, they're not a sanctioning body, of course, but ranking system. So number 1, really, I suspect it will change, or you would imagine it would, if, well, actually, it would change if Dubois loses to Usyk. If he beats Usyk, maybe Usyk is number 1 and he's champion, who knows. But I don't know about Tyson Fury being number 1 ranked, because you think about it like this, right? Parker and Caballel, you want to take their wins into context, fair enough, but they've still got some good wins over the last couple of years. Anthony Joshua, all right, yeah, he hasn't really, Hellenius. Jermaine Franklin's not a terrible win to be fair. He's not a bad fighter. And then Oliver Lean, which hasn't aged the best. And obviously we won't talk about Francis Ngannou, MMA guy. But still, they're not amazing, but fair enough. Fury, he's lost twice. He beat Francis Ngannou, and then he beat Derek Chisora. So really, that doesn't warrant you being number 1 ranked, even if you're not retired, which apparently he is. So why is he even ranked if he's retired? That doesn't justify you being ranked so highly with the Ring Magazine. I should really be saying. I'm so used to saying WBC. I was about to say WBC there. I'm just used to saying it that much. The WBC is like, whoa, no, it's not. It's not the WBC. It's the Ring Magazine. Okay, that's different. So used to saying it. When it comes to rankings, you just think. It's like that scene in The Simpsons where he's like, when I think of bad school, I think Skinner. It's like, when I think of bad rankings, I think WBC. But no, those are the rankings. Let me know what you think. Fury ranked number 1, ahead of Dubois, ahead of Parker, ahead of Caballel, ahead of Joshua, ahead of them all, apart from Alexander Usyk. Fair, legit. Is this kind of more of an indication that the Ring Magazine knows something we don't? That he is coming back and it's just a formality? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, people, I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. And until next time, peace.